all our Madridistas and rival fans as well, because we have Grizz in the building back again. It's been a while, the big dog, the community man. There's plenty of adjectives for Grizz out there, but we had a very good time back in May, previewing the final, and let's be honest, it was completely different circumstances compared to what the two teams are in at this moment in time. But yeah, man, without further ado, Grizz, talk to me, bro. How have you been? And I see you have been in better spirits than, say, a couple of months ago.
You got that right, bro. Last time we spoke, things were very healthy. On, off the pitch, we were going for so many trophies. Managed to win two of them, didn't get over the line in one. And then we had the big one, and we were previewing it, and I was thinking it would be a magnificent season if we ended that. It ended up a good season without being a magnificent season or an immortal season. So immortal, magnificent, good. Ended up the good. We ended up with just a good season, which could have been so much better, but so much worse. But thank you guys for thinking of me and asking me back. It was a pleasure last time, and I'm absolutely certain it'll be a pleasure this time as well.
It's a pleasure from us as well, to be honest. But talk to me, Farooq. We have talked to Grizz in May. Like, do you think that we have a better chance now than we did back in May?
Well, I mean, you guys have summed it up. Like, it's we're not both in the best of spirits. Like, I mean, both form wise and injury wise and what is not. But I personally kind of, as I told you before, I've always feared Liverpool as the ultimate team, even ahead of Manchester City. But now also I have that fear also of the fact that I feel like this is a decimated Liverpool. Like, this is a Liverpool that is there for the taking. So that kind of fear of losing to the nearly team is gonna be even more painful than losing to the juggernaut. So yeah, I'm kind of skeptical about this game, honestly.
That's a very good point. Like losing now to this Liverpool side would be catastrophic. But consider the final. Yes, losing any final is going to be horrible. But if we would have lost to Liverpool, then we could have taken some consolation in the fact that they were quote unquote doing or going for the quad push, but unfortunately, which didn't materialize. But this time around, Grizz, pardon us if we have a little more chest than we did, in May, because truly and honestly, we are in a better position than Liverpool. All things taken into consideration. You guys have injuries. We guys also have injuries, but injuries can be turned into excuses. But I don't think either team can really go down that route, because this is football heritage. So much tradition and history underlies this tremendous fixture. The 1981 final, the 2018 final, the final last year. It has drama and fantastic football written all over it. But Grizz, talk to us. What has been going on at Liverpool? Let's just compare and contrast, right? So Carlo, 9 months on from winning the Champions League and the La Liga double last season, to Klopp winning, I guess that was the Carling Cup that you guys won against Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken.
Both cups, both domestic trophies against Chelsea.
It would have been sweet. Like, I remember how antagonizing you were on the Big Six as well against Metis and the lot.
I hate Chelsea. And I don't hide my hate. At least I'm not snaky or fake about it. I'm very honest about my hatred for Chelsea. So it's always bittersweet if we lose or if we win. But yeah, look, the contrast and what's happened. Wow. How long you guys got, before you get bored? It's an insane situation. A drop off was always on the cards, because not many clubs in history, I believe, have gone on a run like that, where they've the equivalent of reaching every final that they enter. So even the league campaign, when it goes to the last 15 minutes, that's the equivalent of reaching a final. Obviously, we reached the other finals of the cups competitions we come into started. Sorry. So you ask yourself, after that, logically, the only way is down. You're not going to have a season like that if you think about it like deeply like that.
Facts.
But the drop off, nobody anticipated the level of drop off, I should say. Nobody anticipated, and even the most pessimistic and negative of Liverpool fans, if they tell you they saw us in 9th, 10th, and out of the cups and just the Champions League, they're lying.
But
nobody saw this drop off.
But let me counter that, Grizz, because I'm pretty sure so many of the rival fans would have predicted this downfall, because they were seeing very worrying signs of no progressive movements in the market, in the transfer market.
But that's the key.
From
That's
Liverpool's side.
Absolutely, that's key, and that's what I'm saying. You can have a drop off from competing and gaining 90 plus points to maybe 80 points. You can imagine that that's a drop off. Okay, you can imagine, not being competing for first. So you can imagine us dropping off to 3rd and 4th, right? That's a drop off. That is, you can envisage most rational fans, most logical fans, even whether you're a top, like a top supporter that doesn't see anything wrong, or you're an extreme negative, pessimistic fan. The in-betweens are about 3rd and 4th that you expect a drop off. So look, you're right. You mentioned the transfer market. You mentioned the recruitment. You also mentioned Ancelotti since the final. I believe you recruited, well, we know you recruited Tchouaméni, who was nailed on for us before Mbappe said no to you guys. So therefore, you had to bring in a star name or to appease everything. And you brought in Tchouaméni. Now, I don't know if many of your listeners are, or how many listeners of yours are Liverpool fans, but they will tell you, or non-Liverpool fans will tell you, but Grizz, that's just one player. Relax, calm down. So what? You didn't get Tchouaméni, so what? No. The situation we found ourselves, Tchouaméni would have been one of the main difference makers. This is what we've been crying out for. You guys have
Fabinho has fallen off so much.
Who saw that fall off from Fabinho? To be very honest with you, I must pat myself on the back in this situation, because I did see this fall off. I did see this fall off from Fabinho. I've been calling it out since 12 months now that he's falling off. And in the final, even though he wasn't 100% fit, it was one of the worst performances. But Tchouaméni, you guys who can tell me better, and you guys have experienced and witnessed what Tchouaméni brings to a team. And that is exactly what we were lacking, or we've been lacking. So look, Tchouaméni didn't come. He chose Madrid. His first choice was always Madrid. Let's not beat around the bush. Liverpool, and he was happy to come to Liverpool as long as Madrid is not an option. As soon as Madrid was an option, he wanted Madrid. And that's fair enough. That's absolutely fair enough. The mistake or hindsight, the error that the Liverpool hierarchy, manager, coach, whoever's decisions it was we didn't go for a replacement. If we can't get Tchouaméni, who else can we get? We said, no, we will wait. He thought he had enough. It's very evident that we didn't. Those players that played every single game were battered, knackered, bruised, and just couldn't go again. We just couldn't go again. And we're famous for our intensity, our pressure, our pressing. None of that. And it's been since the start of the season. Only 3 weeks ago we've started seeing it again. It's taken that much time to recover or get over it, or however you want to put it. Essentially, this is where we find ourselves now, bro.
If I may interject, Grizz, I just want to, point to something actually. The thing is this, like, I love Klopp a lot. Like, even, Sunil here can, attest to that. But one thing I've always, known Klopp for is that, I don't know, for a lack of better word, let's use the word arrogance there, I feel like Klopp's arrogance might be one of the reasons, why Liverpool are currently in the situation they are. And rightly, you actually pointed out to the fact that we're seeing Liverpool, more of the Liverpool we know, at least for the past 3 weeks, we've seen that, we can say this for sure. But what's changed in the last 3 weeks? It's the arrival of a new midfielder in the sense of Stefan Bajetic. So that's the point. Like, I just want to go back and
Bajetic,
Bajetic, okay? I just want to, throw this to you, like, Grizz, like, do you think it's Klopp's arrogance thinking that, Thiago Alcantara has never played 40 games a season, what's he called? Keita, who's literally never available, Jordan Henderson, who is, 33, Milner, who is like 1 million years old. Like, he's this arrogance that is saying that, okay, there is literally no one better than these guys on the market, except for Chouameni and Bellingham. Or do you think it's about like the FSG not, in backing Klopp on the market? Or I don't know, like, because also we know Klopp's mantra that says like, our transfer market is a training ground. I know he's always, reiterating this, like, we're always going to improve on the training ground and what is and what is not. But it's so obvious. Like, it doesn't take rocket science, to figure this out. And the only difference we can see from the past and the, the early days of the season is the introduction of this young Spanish kid into the team. He's injected that dynamism, that energy that Fabinho once upon a time gave to the team. So I don't know, like, do you think it's about Klopp's arrogance or it's just about the FSG team as a whole?
I've always maintained whether we win, whether we draw, whether we lose, whether we're successful or unsuccessful, it's always a collective. It's always a collective. It's not one aspect of the club that you can favor. When things go right, you say, oh, it's Klopp. When things go bad, oh, it's FSG. It's always a combination. You use the word arrogance. Yeah, maybe. I agree with you. I see where opposition fans would say that about Jurgen Klopp. But then you have to know, or you have to admit, that all the great coaches have arrogance about them. All of them will be tarnished with this stubborn or arrogant or refusal to, not refusal, but like sort of believe in their own, in skills, believe in their own skills. And one of the skills of Jurgen Klopp, he believes in his coaching. Now, I must stress that he did accept that he's made a mistake or he was wrong, because in the last week of the window, he said, after we've had injuries to Ox and Naby, so in the preseason, Naby and Ox picked up injuries, Thiago picked up injury, and he said, I've made a mistake, we need a midfielder, I was wrong. The first part of the statement that you're referring to, where he said he hasn't got anyone better than what he's got, all managers say that to keep the morale and the confidence of their own players. It doesn't mean they mean that or they really know that or believe that, because if that's the case, why did he push for Chouameni so much? Why were we prepared to pay 60 million for Chouameni if that was the case? It obviously wasn't the case. He just had to do that. That's a political move to keep the camaraderie in. I don't believe that was the case, that he actually believed nobody could improve on, only Chouameni and Bellingham can improve this Liverpool midfield. Of course not. Many. And we will see 2-3 midfielders that come in that could have been brought then or not, as the case was, because they're not available. So look, it's a collective. It's a collective issue.
Grizz, in my opinion, that is sort of the heat that Klopp has been getting from other English fans, saying that there are, striking parallels between him and Arsene Wenger, where, Wenger used to kind of defend the ownership.
Yeah, excuse me, I picked up on that very early in his tenure. When people used to ask me, what's this guy like? I said he's more Wenger than Fergie. When we hired him, I've got tweets going back to 2017-18, where I've said he's much more like Wenger. And that prediction, or whatever you want to call it, educated guess, has come to fruition now. He is. You guys are right. He's more like Wenger, in terms of believing in the coaching, looking for gems, not really going for ready-made players.
Yeah.
Looking for potential players, protecting the owners, believing in the working model. But I think there's a change. I genuinely believe that he's finally accepted or seen that Liverpool he created over 6 years is finished now. And I've been very open about it. It's finished. Don't let anyone tell you it's not. Yes, we won 7 trophies. Yes, we should have won 10. But it's still 7 trophies. Many other clubs would love to have won 7 trophies in that tenure. But the sad thing is, the frustrating thing is, the annoying thing is, we were up against a juggernaut in Man City. Just invest. Also under the stewardship of one of the greatest coaches of all time. When you mix the two potions, that's what we were up against. And unfortunately, we were up against you guys in the 2 finals that we reached. You own the European Cup, as we've spoken about not before. So, look, fine margins. These things we're so close to 10 trophies and humongous trophies, but we've got 7. And that's the way it is. Sometimes you just have to accept that it wasn't to be. But now, with the new contract and the new investment coming in, he has a chance to rebuild. And this is where nobody can say with confidence either way whether it's going to be successful or unsuccessful, because we haven't got any proof of him rebuilding his own squad again. We know he can build squads from scratch or in a new place, but rebuilding his own soldiers that have done him well, I can't sit here, guys, and say, no, Jurgen Klopp, watch him rebuild, because I haven't got any evidence and proof. But do I trust him to do it right now? Yes.
That's refreshing, because when I used to listen to you, Grizz, on Big Six and on your channel as well, earlier this year, what you predicted was, if Klopp continues to go down this route, like he'll just sack himself, eventually. But my question is, you see Carlo, especially after last season, he loses Casemiro unexpectedly. Let's put it straight. Like, nobody expected Casemiro to suddenly ask for a move, but that happened. And over the years, countless times, we have seen, as a matter of fact, that Carlo has an innate ability to actually adapt to whatever he faces. Whether it be a decision in the squad, whether it to be ruthless to certain players who are not performing anymore. Do you think Klopp has suffered from not tackling that adaptability portion of his management?
Yeah, there's a case to be made for that, but you have to remember, he's that kind of coach. Every coach is different, and Carlo has been in the game, or coaching game, longer than him. So Carlo had phases of coaching where he was scrutinized like that. He was told that he's too loyal. He went through all this, loyalty to players, senior players, etc. Some would claim that he was loyal to Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro for too long, yet he proved he wasn't.
Last season he was.
But this is my point. Look at the similarities. But he knew, or he knew when to invest at the same time. So you have, what's the word? The new Casemiro, the new Kroos and Modric already in place, like your Camavingas, your Valverdes, your Tchouaménis. That's where Klopp and the ownership have failed. So the loyalty part, all great coaches are loyal to a certain degree. All great coaches always trust in their senior players until they can't anymore. Well, not trust, but until they see their legs drop off. Now, not that I'm saying Casemiro's legs dropped off, because the brilliant job he's doing at Man United, but Carlo is more experienced, more down the line to say, no problem. If Casemiro wants to leave, no problem. If Kroos wants a 3-year deal, but we can only offer him a 2-year deal, that's what we're offering him. If Modric wants a 3, but we can only offer him a 1-year deal, that's no problem. Carlo is more down the line in dealing with those situations. I don't think this is the first time I think Klopp's had to deal with this kind of adversity. So it's interesting how he deals with it. If he's brave enough to, for example, ditch Fabinho in the summer. I don't think he will, but let's see if he is brave enough. That would be the equivalent. He's held on to Milner too long. He's held on to Ox too long. He's held on to Keita too long. So these are criticisms that are valid. But I don't blame him, because hindsight's a wonderful thing. I thought maybe we can get one more season out of them as well. Maybe. I was wrong. He was wrong. Life goes on. He's a human. We make mistakes. But as long as you learn.
Yeah, for sure. You live, you learn. But this is my another question. Pep Linders, Grizz, because I've heard this name way more than I've heard Klopp's name being put through the mud over the last 3-4 months. And I've never in all of my life watching football, never come across an assistant manager being spoken about more than the main manager itself. But like, talk to us about what Pep Linders has done to get so much scrutiny. And I've heard that he published a book about the Liverpool way and such. Like, do you think there is a correlation between the publication of a book to the downturn in form?
I don't. Unfortunately, I can't give you a wild, hot conspiracy theory there. I'm sorry, guys,
Right.
because I just don't believe. I believe that's a load of shit, really. I don't know if I can swear. I'm so sorry.
I mean, that's sorry for interrupting, Grizz. It's the same thing. I mean, if you guys know, like, there is a documentary on Pep's style of play, give the ball, take the ball. I mean, but Pep still won 4 leagues in 5 years. I mean, that doesn't mean anything in my opinion as well. Like,
Guys,
the book doesn't really.
Guys, he brought the book out. He started the book in the previous season. So, look, people, social media, you guys know better than me. Social media is social media, where it gives a platform for everyone and anyone to say what they want, how they want, when they want, with no comebacks or retribution. So you can put out a conspiracy theory, and if it's timed well, it will catch fire.
Yep.
So if it's timed at the same time as a downfall of Liverpool Football Club, wow, you're onto a winner.
It gets traction, yeah.
It gets
Fair
traction.
Point.
It gets traction. And look, Pep Linders, the only criticism or talking point is the playing style. I have no doubt that he has had an influence on the playing style, in the evolvement or stylistically, especially the setup of our midfield, the role of Trent, which we can criticize again this season because the energy and the legs have run out in midfield. But last season, as I've said, and you guys know, we were so close to everything. So therefore, would he have got the praise, or would he have got the plaudits then? No, would have been Klopp. If you can't see, and Klopp's come out in recent press conference and said, "I'm the guy. If you guys really think I'm too low, what about you're stupid." He said, "I'm Jurgen Klopp. I make the decisions here. So if there's anyone to criticize, don't be a coward and go for others. Go for me." Like he said it. He goes, "I'm the one to blame." And what more do you want him to say? If people think that after how many years, 7 years at Mainz, 7 years at Dortmund, bloody hell, over 20 years of coaching, you think Klopp is a yes man to his coach or assistant, if you want to believe that, and that's how your brain operates, and that's how you...
It's also because most of the lineups during that lull you had, obviously before the last 2-3 games, like, people were kind of zoning in on that aspect of team selection, that Klopp had severe favoritism, like in selecting his lineup and such. So probably people believe that Klopp is actually...
But which manager doesn't have favorites? I have never known a manager in football in any level not have his favorites. That's what the manager's role is, to pick his favorites, not the fans' favorites. Not Twitter's favorites, not YouTube's favorites. He has to pick his favorites. As I said, or as I haven't said, I'm going to say now, the timing of the book, I disagree with. There's no way you should, in my opinion, and I've never written a book and I've never been on that level of coaching to suggest otherwise, but in my opinion, you don't write a book in the middle of a season or at the end of a season, or you release a book. You release a book when you've left the club, or when you've retired, and people want to know what was the stories behind it.
Or maybe when you're taking a hiatus,
Or maybe when you're taking a hiatus. You don't do it when you're about to go again and you need to go again. But to suggest that people read that book during the summer and made their tactical plans against Liverpool, no. In fact, In fact, we are the easiest team to play against. So you didn't need to make any tactical plans
Yeah.
to beat us in the last 3 months. We've been the easiest team to play against. Honestly, shockingly easy. It's so easy to go through us. You didn't need any books or tactical plans. You just needed people that can run, literally. I'm telling you guys, if you've got a group of people that can run, put them in midfield against us, and we're in trouble. So
That's
short answer to your long answer to your short, simple question. Pep Linders has got nothing to do with the downfall. Yes, he is part of the coaching setup that has implemented a system that's not working right now, and that's fair. But to say the downfall is Pep Linders, that's just social media, in my opinion.
Yeah, facts. I mean, now this gives me much more perspective because, you know, going through Twitter, like I couldn't just digest, you know, like people would actually emphasize the reason behind Liverpool turning up mediocre performances after mediocre performances was a book. But three major results, right, stands out. Grizz, yes, now there has been a slight upturn in form. You guys bet Newcastle. I watched the game. Liverpool looked threatening. In other ways, I felt like Nick Pope basically handed you guys the win, but that's for another show. Brentford 3-1, 3-0 away to Wolves, where I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because the Wolves players were basically passing it around, and the crowd was olaying for the last like 10 minutes. And to actually kind of go back, I think in the final stretch, in the last season, when you were going head to head with City, you had a game at Wolves as well, which was completely different. And from that to this, and also the Brighton fixture in the FA Cup, where, you know, Mitoma scored that wonder goal. Talk to us about, you know, like, I'm pretty sure that would have been the lowest of the lows that you have seen in the Liverpool side in the past, maybe, you know, 2 or 3 seasons. So, like, how much has it recovered from that? And like, just describe to us like what you were going through during that period.
So unfortunately, I was at the Brentford game. Now Brentford, for me personally, because I was there live, is the most harrowing experience of watching Liverpool that I can remember at a live game ever. Like the performance.
You're talking about the Premier League fixture, right?
The Premier League, yeah, the 3-1. We were shambles, but I kind of knew it from the start, and that's worst feeling when you know you're going to get smashed. Like literally from the first minute, I looked at our team compared to theirs. They were like giants standing over us. We had Harvey Elliott and Tsimikas playing. I knew we were going to get done. But if you contextualize it, Brentford have got a magnificent record this season. They're one of the high flyers. They've beaten Man City, Chelsea. They've Man United. They smashed in the early weeks as well, 4-0 or something. So they've got a fantastic record. So Brentford. So then when you sit back and you think, okay, for me, the Wolves first half, where they beat us, like second half, the scoreline doesn't reflect. We had chance after chance after chance, we couldn't score. But that first half, guys, was the worst, the most embarrassing performance I've ever seen. The lack of effort, the lack of structure, the lack of ideas. It was embarrassing. Matip and Gomez were amateurish. I can't say any positives about that 45 minutes. So if you combine them two, yeah, that period, Brighton are a fantastic team. Sorry, you talk about the cup game. The cup game wasn't too bad. We were okay in the cup game. Mitoma just scored a brilliant goal with the last kick of the game. We were quite good. We didn't deserve to lose that. But in the league game, wow, we were played off the park. We were tactically done off the park in every single way, shape, form. So that period of 3 games, the Brighton, Wolves, and Brentford as a collective, you're spot on. It was the most
It was the
harrowing
Premier League
experience.
record, I guess, for you guys, where it was the longest you have gone without winning an away game or something like that, right?
Yeah. I think it was 6, 7 games or something. I'm not
Mm,
too short on my head. Um, but we're crazy, guys. We're crazy. We've lost every game that we think we're gonna come back.
mhm.
That okay, we need to win this. Leeds, Forest,
Right.
Brentford, Brighton, Wolves. I've just named you guys that we haven't lost to these teams in ages, right? We don't lose to these teams normally. But then if I told you we beat Newcastle away, Man City, Napoli, Everton, all the games that we expected to struggle or probably not even favourites for, we've won. It's mad. It's the I don't know what Liverpool we're gonna get, and obviously we're gonna get into tomorrow. It's crazy to try to predict either of our teams at the moment, which is I don't know. It's you try to analyze it, you look at the context and everything behind it, but yeah, that period. Thanks for reminding me and making me speak on it. But that period was the most horrible. I mean, I don't know if you guys can recall anything like that in your recent times, but that period of 3, 4 games, wow, wow.
We definitely had a period as well during the post-World Cup phase. We lost to
Okay.
Mallorca away, which was a very frustrating loss. We had a penalty to actually level the score and probably win it from there, but Asensio actually missed the pen.
Hmm.
We had a shocking loss also away to Rayo Vallecano as well. I'm not sure if it was before the World Cup break, but we have had our fair share of downfalls as well this season. Farouk, like, who do you think is in a much better mental state? Right, like we have been here chatting about why our team doesn't look up for the occasion, against mid-table sides or lower sides in the league, especially um, away. But yeah, man, talk to us about like how different do you think that mentality wise Liverpool and Real Madrid are going into tomorrow?
Actually, I feel like Real Madrid will be in a much better mental state, because why I say this is because I honestly, like, with Liverpool this season, it's been so. I mean, yeah, Grizz would say it's been, both hot and cold, but I think in the Premier League, like, the lack of consistency has been so shocking and alarming. Like, I mean, as we've always discussed, like, Real Madrid, we never keep clean sheets, and this is something we know from time. But you look at Liverpool, for example, in the partnership when you had like Joe Gomez and and Matip, or if it was Gomez and Konate, or I mean that period where Van Dijk was out, like, literally, as Grizz said, like, it was just hot knife through butter, man. Like, literally anyone could go through. Like, I mean, Allison at one point had an outrageous, XG against him. Like, he was literally like Superman, literally. It was
I think
just,
he has been their best player this season. Bar maybe one error, if I remember.
yeah. So that's the thing, honestly. Like, the level and the way Liverpool play, like, they know just how to play in one way and one way only, honestly. So it's not just been working for them. And also, we also have the curious case of Darwin Núñez, as I said before. In one game he's like a genius, and in the next game he misses an emptiness. So you literally don't know what's gonna happen with that guy as also. And I think he's also gonna be a very key player in the game against us. But I just think, away from that, like, Vinicius has been cooking, for the past, I think, one month or so. Honestly, I feel like Vini against Trent Alexander-Arnold is just, an accident waiting to happen. So I think that's something that you might want to exploit. But on the other hand, as well, I think, with the performance of Robertson in the last two games, because I personally have always felt, Liverpool's left is much more stronger than the right, even though, like, Salah's, I always felt like, the Mane Robertson combination was much more, in my opinion, much more stronger and much more well balanced. So it's something to be scared of. So I feel like with Darwin Núñez right now and Robertson, that's also something that one has to be, skeptical about, especially against, Carvalho, who's just returning from injury as well. So yeah, I would pick Real Madrid right now, but it's still just, just barely. It's just still a 50-50 team, because we are both not in the best of states.
Hmm. Yeah, we will actually get into some of the players for tomorrow shortly. But Chris, the last bit, the last pretense before we actually get into tomorrow. I feel like the Everton win, the 2-0 win, wasn't pretty, wasn't the most, thumping win, but I think it flicked a switch. Am I wrong, or is it just me actually being a little more,
I
level-headed?
don't. I can't tell you with any confidence if you're right
Mm,
or you're wrong. I
mm,
thought the same when we smashed Man City. When we
mm.
played Man City, we were at no, like majority of the fan base thought there's no way we're winning. We might draw
Yeah.
because Anfield, we our pride will come through. They're a big team. But the way we played, we thought, okay, this is the comeback. And then we went to lose to Nottingham Forest the following week. We beat Napoli, the
Yeah.
best team in Europe. Then we lost to Leeds the following game. We beat I can't remember now. Even Newcastle the first time round, because they were playing very well at that time. You guys remember. So,
Yeah.
and even now. So we've had so many stop starts where we think this is the performance that will kick us into action. The real
Mm,
Liverpool will come through.
mm.
No, like someone told me I was on a show earlier on another platform, and I was speaking with a Man City fan, and they haven't won 4 games in a row this season. Man City,
My God, I didn't know that. I
Man
didn't know that.
City, Man City.
That's
We've won
insane.
3 games. We've won 3 games in a row. Both of us. That's the maximum we've won. That's
Mm,
crazy. It's unheard of. Man City and Liverpool were famous for winning 12, 13, 14 games in a row, and that's where we separate from the rest of the groups. No wonder Arsenal, Manchester United, Newcastle are all in the mix.
mm.
Liverpool and City. I mean, I know we're not as bad as them, but they haven't been great either. They probably be similar to you guys actually. Like the drop-off's been there, but not that
Right,
crazy.
right.
But we haven't won games in a row, my brothers. I don't know what's the kickstart. Was it Everton? Was it Newcastle? For the opening 20 minutes, we were
Mm,
scintillating.
Yeah.
But
mm.
Yeah.
but again, after that first half an hour, I saw issues and flaws with the team.
Yeah,
So,
you guys took a seat back.
it's difficult to put your
Mm,
finger on it. It's
mm.
But
difficult.
actually, but the thing is, Grizz, like, I just sorry for interrupting you. But I was just gonna say that, literally, honestly, playing against 10 men is very difficult. You know how it is, like, there is a more of a team in 10 than 11. Honestly, like as commentators like to say, or what is it? But I just wanted to, say to you this, like, I have seen a lot of the games you talked about. You understand? For example, the first game against Newcastle was honestly, it was a scrappy game. I think you would also attest to that. Honestly, it wasn't like Liverpool were like the Liverpool of the past. Against City, it was, yeah. I mean, against City, it's Liverpool City. It's always going to be, a very good game, and what is and what is not. But honestly, like, if you could see for the first 20 minutes against Newcastle, like even before Pope got the red card, you could see that, okay, this was the team we've seen in the past years. And I think maybe this is the first time, I think, in 23 that I could have said this for Liverpool. Like, obviously, like, there was the game in Ajax, like, it was a really good game for Liverpool. There were some games here and there that was really good. But in 23, I think this is the best 20 minutes of football I have seen Klopp's team playing this year. So I kind of felt like maybe that might, Everton is a derby, and you know how these derby games go. Like, it
Yeah,
just, kind of brings something back to the team. And I feel like maybe that might be the switch, honestly. Like, I hope it's not. I hope it's the switch comes after the match tie is done. So
no, you're right. You're spot on. Look, that's what it would indicate. That's what to a neutral, not neutral, but outsider like you guys would think. Oh wow, they look back to their best. That's good. They're gonna go on a run. But we'd go into the following games, guys. I told you guys, and look dead again.
Mm.
Like I can't explain how dead we've looked. Like you guys
Yeah.
have seen probably the odd few games here and there, but I've watched every single game, even from the very first game of the season to Fulham. We look lifeless, and you can never call a Klopp team lifeless. Maybe for the odd game here and there.
Yeah.
Yes, again, these are not excuses, these are causations. When you speak about injuries, they are facts. You take out Benzema, Vinicius, Rodrigo. Okay, leave one of the main strikers. Let's leave Vinicius, take out Benzema, Rodrigo, Asensio, maybe. I don't know who your other attackers are. And you're relying on one guy.
Pathetic.
We haven't had Jota, Diaz, Bobby for the first half of the season. We haven't had them. Now, people can say, oh, but you got Salah. Yeah, we got Salah, only Salah. And then we got a Nunes who wasn't supposed to start every game. He was supposed to slowly come in. And we're expecting him to come in and understand the Mane role. Wow. The Mane role was, it's a special role in Europe, man, how he played it. Sadio Mane was a legend. You guys saw in the final how much of a play he was, hit the post with that incredible save, caused issues. He was a fantastic player. So expecting Nunes, can't speak English, the pressure of 80 million. Look, he's slowly showing what he can do. And I've got no doubt he's going to be effective for us in the long term. But Diaz only learned that role. It took him about 6 months to learn that role, and then he got injured. Diaz was just about to fire. He was becoming so influential, so good. Then he got injured. Jota for me was going to be always the number one starter through the middle, but he got injured in pre-season with Portugal, not even for Liverpool. So, people can say, "Oh, excuses." Okay, but to me, the causation is caused. The mid and obviously we've spoken about the midfield. There is absolutely no legs. Obviously, Naby and Ox being injured as well in midfield meant Thiago had to play every game. We play him every game, make him run every game, and now he gets injured. He's broken down again. So, and the Fabinho drop off. So, so many issues. It's as I said, we could do a whole 2 hours segment on Liverpool issues, and it still wouldn't be enough. Honestly, guys, it still wouldn't be enough.
Facts. It really goes to show like how difficult it is to actually to stay at the top, because people always underestimate like how easy it is to stay at the top, how difficult it is to stay at the top. I mean, because the focus is always getting to the top, but once you get to the top, it is just
sustaining that.
Yeah.
I also think that goes to show like how much availability is important, and I think that's one thing that as Grizz was talking about with Sadio Mane was that away from even his skill, like he was always available. I can't remember how long. I mean, Grizz knows better, but I don't know. I can't remember when he's been out for a month or so.
Never. Him and Salah, the longest Salah's been out was with the shoulder, which Ramos done. Right? Yeah. That's it. Like that's not even an injury. That's assault. So the only time he's been out is when he was assaulted, which you can excuse him. He hasn't had an injury through playing football. Like someone tried to mug him on the street. They thought he's got a new iPhone, and he tried to rob him. That's the only time my guy's been injured. But but it's an amazing fact about Sadio that maybe the odd game here and there. Wow,
he was a machine. Let's get it straight. But let's get to some of the comments. I hope you are those listening. Elamas in the comments says those legs on that Liverpool midfield have seen their last days. He shares Grizz's sentiment. That kid Bajcetic seems special though, but without the required athleticism and the lack of technical abilities compared to Modric and Kroos. It has been early days for Bajcetic. Let's get it straight, because he's only 18 or 19. There's a long way for him to go, but the earlier signs are very promising, because bits of what I've seen of Bajcetic, he looks fascinating. He looks really composed for his age, very aggressive as well. He also says, Elamas also says, I feel quite confident about tomorrow. Ala Madrid. There was also a couple of comments I missed earlier. Michael Carmichael says, Ala Madrid. I guess that's pretty much it. You guys were actually talking about Nunes, right? So Nunes has been tipped to be that guy who would be, the solution to Liverpool's striker problems, ever since Firmino kind of dropped off out of the picture, and like he clearly has, lost a yard or two. But Nunes has been this enigma, Grizz. Like people just can't put a finger on it. Like what makes him so good, yet at the same time, what makes him so head-scratchingly bad? Because I saw the finish against Newcastle. It was pure instinct how he kind of managed to control the ball and smash it in. Talk to us about how much do you rate the guy, and do you think, although he might not be Erling Haaland, he can be the most viable threat against us?
I think I can make a good case to explain Nunes, and I'm going to try. So you guys remember Vinicius in his first season?
Yeah.
What did you guys think? You saw something, but you're thinking, what?
Yeah.
There's glimpses of you think, oh, and you're rubbing your hands. This is what we bought. And then you'd come to the end part and you'd think, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but then you think, what is this? Every single time, again and again. Yet sometimes you do something instinctively. That's just a Real Madrid example. To the Liverpool fan base, I've been giving the Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane, when he first came, was so raw, guys. It was unbelievable. He had pure physical attributes that no one can match.
He was a bull, I remember.
No one can match. Yet his finishing, he would scuff the shot. You think, where's the technique, Sadio? Apart from his opening goal at Arsenal, which was all-time great debut goals. Yeah, but if you take that away, so frustrating, so frustrating. Darwin Núñez is an enigma. That's a very good way of putting it. Darwin Núñez has, again, physical attributes like the likes of Vinicius and Sadio Mane. I'd also like to think or suggest, and you guys may disagree with Vinicius, but I think Vinicius and Sadio are not natural finishers. I think they're instinctive finishers.
Yep.
They'll score goals. They'll score goals where you think, "Whoa, how did they strike it in that gap?" But when they've got the bigger goal, when they've got time to think,
Núñez
comes in that category. For example, yesterday, ball falls in front of him, smash like Shearer into the top corner, goal, not corner, top corner, smash. He scored. He had another attempt at Everton. We drew 0-0, but we could have won. It could have been the magnificent debut for him, or second game, where the ball came over the volley like Torres. He smashed it first time, hit the crossbar. He's been so close to being so good. Yet, again, with social media, you only highlight the worst parts. Again, like social media, you compare monies to other money players. So I don't believe he's worth 85 million. You ask me, how much do I rate him? I don't rate him at that value. I always thought we overpaid for him. I knew it. I think he's worth 50, 60 million pounds, but that's not his fault. That's not in his control. I've been very open and saying he's not my style of player, my type of striker. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be effective for my club. There's a difference.
I heard he actually compared himself to Suarez after the Newcastle game. Like, do you think that is
no? He may be talking about in terms of his hunger and his desire and never gives up. Because he's an absolute, and I hope he shows you guys I've seen him about 5 times this season live, and I guarantee you the opposition fans say, wow, when they see him live, it's totally different. They say, you know what, online, and we thought, oh, what a waste of money and this donkey. But they say that's the hardest game our centre-backs have had. Saliba and Gabriel, remember they were imperious at the start of the season. When we went there, he caused them so much issues. If it wasn't for Diaz's injury, I think we would have won that. You know, Diaz, Bobby, and him were magnificent. Diaz, Salah, and him. So he's an enigma. He's had a rough season. He's come into a team which is battered and tired and all over the place. Yet he's still got 11 goals and 4 assists. Wow. And it's February.
Yeah, it's not bad stats. Like when you see Núñez,
he's got a goal and an assist in every 111 minutes. That's brilliant.
That's impressive. Like, honestly,
actually, Grizz, I just want to sorry, Sunil, I just want to interject with this. Like, I've always, as you said, like, honestly, like, Núñez, whether he scores or assists, like, he's always gonna, cause havoc. Like, he's just a master of chaos. He's just gonna bring that chaos and he's just gonna disrupt, the flow of your defense and all that. Valid, that's fine and good. But one thing I've always just felt is that with, for example, Diego Jota, or for example, with the likes of, Luis Diaz, for example, you've always had that sense that this is a club player, this is a Liverpool, the club style of player, But with Darwin Núñez, this kind of feel like it's like, I don't know, this kind of odd match in between, Klopp's style of play and the way Nunez plays. I don't know
Shall I,
what you think.
shall I tell you? No, I disagree with that. He does look like a Klopp player because he's chaos. Klopp likes his players to be chaos. Shall I tell you the guy who doesn't look like the Klopp player of the signing?
Gakpo.
Honestly, everything that you've said, replace Nunez with Gakpo, and I'm with you. I don't see what he brought, whatever. Now, again, he started off very well again. He's had a couple of 3 games where he was poor, but the whole team was poor. Now, he's last couple of games, he's looked really nice, really nice. I'm not sure if he's going to start tomorrow. Maybe he will. He probably will. Actually, it's touch and go. Maybe Bobby might start, but he's at an upturn. And slowly, I'm seeing the vision of what the coaches may see in him. But Nunez, even though I have said he's not worth the money, even though I say he's not my style of player, my style of preference, sorry, I still think he's going to be effective, very effective overall in his career. He's just not technically great. And you have to accept that sometimes. Not everyone's a Benzema, not everyone's a Bobby.
You don't have to be technically great to be extremely direct. And that's the most concerning thing about Nunez. He is just direct. Like if he sees space, he just darts for it. Like he just commits defenders, as simple as that. Like there is no.
He doesn't let you rest. He does not let you rest. Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, that's why I think Nunez is going to be one of Liverpool's biggest threats. Arguably bigger than Salah in some ways.
Possibly.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what you're getting with Salah. You've played him. You know him. Nunez is a bit of unknown quantity. Will he play through the middle? Will he play to the left? He's got different attributes. I mean, you say Carvajal is coming back from injury. I don't know. Is he going to likely to start? Did he play?
No, he's played a couple of games. He played a couple of games.
So it's fine then. Okay, fine. But that would be
Grizz is probably having PTSD from Carvajal's performance against Luis Diaz in the final because we were hyping up Luis Diaz.
But even so, this is what I mean. Diaz plays the game differently, completely differently to how Nunez.
Definitely.
In my opinion, Diaz played into Carvajal's hand. It wasn't Carvajal. Carvajal wanted it, and Carvajal followed him everywhere he went. Every time he went deep. Nunez is not interested in coming deep. Nunez is not interested in the team play. Diaz wanted to get the ball, flick it in, play off, 1-2s, wall passes. Nunez is going to keep Carvajal on the edge. On the edge. It's a different way of playing. So it's intriguing, but of course, Carvajal is...
Nunez has to deal with both Carvajal and Fede probably down the right. So it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be.
Absolutely.
Let's just... get into some of the comments. Just More Power, he says, I think Real Madrid will lose the first leg at Anfield and come back at the Bernabeu. I mean, you wouldn't put it past against us, to do something like that because it is just in our DNA. He also adds, Jota is back, so that's a threat. Jota is definitely a threat, like he is one of the most underrated.
He's not fit. He's not close to... I mean, he is close. He's played a couple of minutes, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. He's not up to speed. When he has come on, he's looked really rusty yet. So he won't play. He won't start.
He might come off the bench, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I think even Bobby also was really, really bad in the game against Newcastle as well. So
not ready. They've been 4 months. They've been out 4 months, 3 and 4 months.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been a very long time, actually. Yeah.
And Diaz is going to be, when he comes back, it's going to be 6 months. So 4 months as well. So guys, it's it's not as easy as just they fit, they come back into the team. It's you guys know you have to have rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy. Also, Just More Power in the comments says Nunez at left wing is better than a 9. I kind of agree because I saw his raw pace in full 4K. When he's actually put down the wing, he is a different entity. Like when he's actually down the wing and has the space and the width to actually attack, he's much more lethal. I feel like with Jota or Gakpo as false 9 and Real Madrid struggling defensively, it's going to be a tight battle. Honestly, yeah, I could totally see that happening because Anfield is never an easy place to go. The crowd will be up for it. The players will be up for it. There is no bigger occasion, hands down. Also, Elamas in the comment section, he says, Nunes has been a bit of a disappointment, but not entirely his fault, though. The straight comparisons to Haaland wasn't fair either when entering the Premier League. The comparisons was always going to happen, like it's just inevitable.
Inevitable, yeah, exactly.
Inevitable. Also, Just Smith again says, Gakpo is a backup and bought to eliminate competitions getting him. Well, you could put it that way, I guess. But we all know for a fact that, well, I do know for a fact that Grizz is not the biggest fan of Gakpo, but he's just hoping that he works out. I could tell that much at least.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You never wish bad. If you're asked an opinion, you give an opinion on a player. That doesn't change just because they're at your club now. That's known as a flip-flop. I stick to my opinion, but that doesn't mean I wish him ill or bad. I think, I hope he does brilliant and I prove wrong.
Just Smith also adds, Nunes is just going to shove Carvajal and go ahead. Well, I hope you're wrong, mate. Elama says, Diaz is Liverpool's biggest threat. Just Smith also adds, he feels like a Depay regen to me. Yeah, Depay, when he actually broke through, was also like Gakpo, very nifty, technically looks brilliant.
That's a good shout.
But we all know where Depay ended up, like he just couldn't fulfill his potential. But, Gakpo, it's still early days. The jury is still out on him. But yeah, let's get into how kind of both teams can affect each other. Like basically, how can both the teams nullify each other? First, I'll start with you, Grizz. Like, what is, in your opinion, the weakness we have and what you guys should look to exploit tomorrow?
Wow, trying to pick a weakness in Real Madrid is very difficult, even though, as I said, the reason why it's so difficult is because even if they're playing badly, if they're having a rough season, the know-how throughout that team always pulls them through. The know-how, the experience, the cleverness, the sharpness. So they may have a weakness that we perceive as a weakness, but they know the in-game management of games is second to none. The likes of Modric, and they can fix a problem during a game. So look, documented fullbacks. You have no Mendy, right? You have been playing Alaba and Camavinga there. Maybe that's something. There was rumors that he may play Rudiger there, which I don't think was going to happen. But it's probably going to be Alaba, right?
Alaba, most probably, yes.
So Alaba, fantastic player. But we know that he doesn't like playing at left back. Your midfield, no Tchouaméni, no Cruz. So it's likely to be Modric, Camavinga.
Ceballos, maybe. Danny Ceballos, I hope Grizz has been, aware of.
Now that would give me encouragement, though, you see.
Really?
Yeah, so form-wise...
Let's see.
No, but form-wise, you can say on the ball, he's very good. He's so good on the ball, he's close control, whatever. But to me, I know what we've suffered against. If Tchouaméni was in that team, I would be shitting myself. Because I know he's got the direct running power. It's not the ball players that we've been suffering against. It's raw pace and power.
Camavinga is no slouch either.
No, Camavinga's there. Camavinga is there. He's the first port of call and danger. I agree. But we have suffered through pace and power in that midfield and running power. Ceballos and Modric are ball players of the highest quality, technicians of the highest quality. But I would say that their strengths are not pace and power and directness. Camavinga would have been, Tchouaméni would have been, Valverde would have been. So that's what I would look at and try to gain some of. I don't think it's going to be nothing like the Champions League final, guys. It's going to be nothing like that.
Ancelotti just said that because he just said the final was.
I think you guys will come out and play. And rightly so. I think you guys.
I don't think so, Grizz. I don't think so. I
Oh,
wish
brother.
that to happen, but you know.
No. Trust me. We are there for the taking. You will not against in the final. We dominated possession, areas, whatever, and you scored a goal, bang, end of game. But we went, we were creating chances. We know Courtois was man of the match, made 4 or 5 wonderful saves. I think you're going to look at this team. We're a total different team. I think I would. I don't know. That's up to you guys. What you think? How you're going to? But I think you're going to come out and you're going to absolutely think you can win this in the first leg. Honestly, you can win this in the first leg. That's how poor we are. But our hope is the Anfield atmosphere, just like you guys know about the Bernabeu. It's a terrible place to come on a Champions League night for opposition. Napoli, the best team in Europe. Man City, the best team of the Premier League era, found out this season that despite everything else, we can turn up on one given night.
Yeah, I kind of agree because whenever I thought Liverpool is done and dusted, they seem to have some sort of a fight, some sort of a performance that kind of makes people go, oh, well, they might not be dead after all. That has been the vibes that I've been getting from Liverpool. They are not to be taken for granted. They are not to be underestimated. We don't tend to underestimate everyone. Like it's always the other way around.
You're not a PSG that has that arrogant streak in them. As I said, your know-how is second to none.
Facts. Know-how. Yes, know-how is going to be the keyword tomorrow because that midfield, like you said, Chris, that midfield of yours, yes, Bajetic is a new addition, a very promising addition, but I think Henderson and Fabinho is kind of tipped to start beside Bajetic, but like in my opinion, like our midfield would walk all over yours. Like honestly, just by pure quality, experience, know-how, like you said. Like, do you think that the addition of Bajetic is going to completely throw the game in your favor in midfield?
To be asking an 18-year-old academy starter to do that is crazy. He's been magnificent. He's true. I don't like overblowing and overhyping youngsters. I'm not one of these guys that gets carried away. But for an 18-year-old, he looks special. For an 18-year-old. That doesn't mean he's going to come and boss Real Madrid. Absolutely not. As you said, if you guys, just like I'm hearing that Dani Ceballos is in the team, you guys must be thinking, Stefan Bajetic, okay, no problem. We'll handle that. And that's the way it works. And you're right to think that. But he has got a bit of fight in him. He is tenacious. He's got something about him that Klopp and Co like, and Liverpool fans have seen it. Our hope, honestly, our hope is the front three. We've looked like firing recently. And if Jota and Bobby are in any shape or way or form be able to impact in the second half, that's our best hope. With Nunes and Salah. Salah has looked much better in the last couple of games as well. I don't know if you saw his pass, majestic.
Oh yeah, the chip behind the line was insane.
So he's looking better. Trent is looking better.
We always know for a fact that Salah, over the years, when he cuts inside, when he's kind of more centrally, he's much more effective. And I think that's what you guys are gonna try to do tomorrow night. But yeah, all of the people in the chat, much love for actually engaging in the conversation. Also, smash the like if you haven't, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Also, don't forget to go down to Grizz's YouTube channel. I didn't know that you changed the name to Carnage recently, Grizz. But Carnage, Football Carnage. So if you guys haven't already, just go there, and smash the subscribe button. But yeah, a few more comments before we get to the end of this preview. Jasmine Pahua says, I think Casemiro in the finals of the Champions League was very crucial and looked over. Facts. He was a wall.
Oh, he was the best. Apart from Courtois, he was man of the match for me. Apart from Courtois, he was an absolute animal.
That's the thing. Casemiro was a guy who could sniff out fires before it even happened. He was very, very crucial to our success. Jaspit Pahoa also says, but then again, Grizz, Real Madrid's pragmatic approach is a strength and not a downfall. But you're right in them not having the players to do it this time, I believe. Well, it goes to show, like, maybe always the same approach might not work. We might just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. My bad. Ghost Chapo 21 says Liverpool are average now. Standard team Madrid much better. He also adds Liverpool midfield is ghosted. Yes, they have been having tremendous issues in the middle of the pitch. Salah ghosted to average, but you never know. Yes, since the contract, Salah, in my opinion, has dropped off a bit, but it seems like he's coming back. But yeah, man, Farouk, on to you. What can we exploit in Liverpool? Where can we win the game?
I mean, I'm just going to give you a generic answer, which I think literally any layman will give the answer to. Just it's behind Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is the one yellow card away from suspension, and Vinny should make the mission.
We don't need that suspension. We need him to stay in the next game as well. We don't need the suspension. Why should we get him suspended, man? I mean, the point is.
Wait. Let me just tell you this for a fact. Like, I've been following Trent closely because like the hype merchants always used to give me a hard time with Trent, and to be fair to him, he has improved defensively this season. Can Grizz attest to that, or am I just mistaken?
No, he has. He absolutely has. But obviously, he's still not great defensively, and no one will tell you otherwise.
The thing is this, actually, with the thing is that, as I think, as Grizz, as I said to earlier, like, when things, fall in place, then you can create, a theory that, oh, this is not working. But the point is, when Trent was breaking the records of assists in a year, like last season as well, when he was flying high, it's very difficult to make these claims about the defensive, frailties and what is not. Honestly, the midfield is not backing Trent up right now. And the point is, whether you like it or not, even we've seen with Marcelo as well, when our midfield lost the legs, Marcelo also got thrown out as well, So that's the thing, like, with these players who have this, I don't know, I would say this majestic fullbacks, they always need people, people with the legs to cover for them, honestly. But right now, Trent is not getting that cover because even the midfield cannot cover for themselves, So there is that. But it is what it is, like, Trent is always going to be a threat, as we've seen, the first pass to Nunez in the goal against Newcastle. Like, that was a very good pass as well, He always has this in his armor, but I think I would always bet on Vini against Trent, honestly. Like, just that's why I actually think it's going to be a low block from Carlo tomorrow.
It also depends upon where Van Dijk starts, in my opinion, like whether he plays RCB or LCB. Chris, like, can you give us an insight into that? Like, is he going to start
always.
LCB? Yeah.
Exactly. He always plays LCB. Like, on the right, it's always either Gomez or it's Matip. Either of them.
Konate is out. It's a big miss for them.
Massive Konate, because Konate was like how you guys have said Vinicius. Konate, apart from the goal, Konate is the one who controlled Vinicius.
Yeah.
And Benzema at the same time, you could say almost.
He's someone who never loses belief. When he kind of makes an error, he just goes back, again. He's very...
Konate is huge.
Very composed.
Honestly, I actually just, fear that what's going to happen tomorrow might be the case of, as you guys have discussed earlier, like, Vinicius is not the most natural finisher, He might get into chances, and in my own opinion, I think the best one-on-one goalkeeper plays for Liverpool in Alisson. When it comes to 1v1, I think he might be the best 1v1, goalkeeper in the world. So I feel like Vini has to have that shooting boots on, honestly, because it's going to be a case of if you have 5 chances and you're missing 5 chances, then it's going to be a very, very difficult team, honestly. But I just feel like, that position of, that left hand, Liverpool's, right hand is going to be a place we can exploit, honestly, with Salah and Trent, going all full steam. But my fear now becomes is who's going to give the ball over the top, honestly, because I think Modric is going to be so deep, with the absence of both Tchouaméni and Toni Kroos. And if you guys could recall the 3-1 we had at Anfield, it was mostly Toni Kroos, just pinging the ball, back line, So now the question becomes, and as we know, like Dani Ceballos likes to hold the ball on his feet. He's not a player who is that, very good with distributing long passes and what is not. Well, actually, I was just gonna go to Grizz's point about Stefan Bajcetic. You guys said, right? That's how his name is called. I don't know, but I actually kind of have this vibe about Bajcetic actually dominating the midfield tomorrow. If you guys could recall, with the games with Wilshere against Arsenal, Rooney against Wilshere against Barcelona in those games, Rooney against Arsenal, we always have these youngsters with that breakout games in.
They have a point to prove,
Exactly, in the pressure cooker environment, and you see they just come to the fore. And I think even we've seen with both Pedri and Gavi for Barcelona as well, and even last year we saw with Camavinga as well. I kind of feel like him being 18 years old might just not be that, but I feel I'm expecting to see something from him across the two legs of the games. But yeah, obviously it might be too much to ask, but I mean that's what differentiates the exceptional players and the average players as well.
Couple more comments before we actually get into the predictions. Just Mohit Pahua also says he definitely has, but it's more on the fact that there is no midfield to protect him, since Klopp's attacking fullbacks were the biggest part of his success. I think he's referring to Trent. He also says, I think Rodrigo should start over Benzema, but that would be somewhat controversial take for some. It is 100% controversial because Rodrigo is not a striker.
I mean, this person is a Liverpool fan, I guess. Who's gonna say Rodrigo should start?
Yeah. I think he's a red, but yeah, man, we are Liverpool's bogey team. Nobody can deny that. Europe knows that. Liverpool knows that. We know that, right? Like 3 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses in the last 9 meetings between Liverpool and Real Madrid for Liverpool. 6 games, winless run is the longest ever streak that they have against Champions League opposition. On that note, Grizz, your predictions for tomorrow?
If you ask me 3 weeks ago, I would have said Real Madrid 2, Liverpool 0.
Mm-hmm.
If you're asking me now, like you are, I would take a 2-1 win with my eyes closed. I would love that. So my last 2 predictions have been spot on. Nobody saw me predicting an Everton win or a Newcastle win, and I've got the scores right as well. So let's see, 2-1 to Liverpool, but not with much great confidence or chest or anything like that. Just the Liverpool Anfield factor, etc., etc.
But what about the second leg as well? The tie overall.
Look, if you guys don't go through, then you're gonna regret. Because everyone is beating us this season. There's no way you don't get through overall.
Facts.
In my opinion. But with Liverpool, we're not gonna make it easy. We're not. You know this as well. That it's not going to be easy, despite our situation, injuries, form.
Exactly.
You know it's going to be a different animal when we meet.
There's a history there also.
May the best team win.
Fair enough. 3 wins in the last 9 games for Liverpool, just to get that in, because the mood has completely flipped, over the past week. But 3 wins in the last 9 games doesn't look well. Farouk, your prediction?
For the first leg, I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I think it's going to be a goal fest, 4 goals in all of them. But yeah, I mean, overall, I still predict Real Madrid to go through. But yeah, I think the first leg is going to be just, a couple of defensive errors and goals flying in left and right.
Fair enough. I predict a very tough away fixture as well. I think a draw wouldn't hurt. Coming back with a 1-1 would be great for us, because we know for a fact that we can beat anyone at home. We just need to turn up. We just need to turn up and show mettle, and the job is done. History shows that even this season, it has shown us that we needn't look in the greatest of form to actually nick out wins and results. Just like what Klopp said, I couldn't actually believe that he said that until I actually read his quotes in the pre-match conference. He said, we need to play 2 super games. If you don't play at your best, you don't have a chance. If Real Madrid don't play at their best, they still have a chance. That's the difference. I think there is no better way to actually sum this tie up. Liverpool have absolutely have to take their chances. They're at home. The crowd will be ecstatic. The atmosphere will be electric. They have to take the initiative. If they don't, I think unfortunately the tie is over. But big up Grizz for actually coming by again. We didn't think that we would be meeting up soon, this soon. Just like 8 or 9 months after the final. This was a fixture that could grace any final. It is kind of a downward that we had to kind of face each other in the round of 16. But best wishes to you and your team, man. We all are big fans of the Big Six and the work you guys have been putting out. And so much gratitude for you and Steve actually, like coming over and doing shows with us.
It's been an absolute pleasure, as I said. Very humbled by your request to speak on this game, and what a game. It's a shame that it's not a final again. As you said, our club's grace finals, and that's why that's what we're about. So, but yeah, look, whoever, we don't want to wish each other good luck tomorrow, but after this, good luck for the rest of the campaign. And I'm sure you guys will say, if we go through, good luck to us as well. So, and that's the way it should be.
Facts. Hopefully, we both can kind of get back to where we were, Also, before we go, Just Moy Power also says his predictions 2-1. Liverpool wins the first leg. Real Madrid wins the second leg 2-0 and wins on aggregate. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Don't forget to smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe already. It doesn't cost anything. Also, do check out Football Carnage, Grizz's YouTube channel. Link is in the description below. Yeah, man, until next time, Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid.